right, this is from the goal of, as written by the Concordia Stewardship Committee. The goal of our stewardship ministry is to help God's people grow in their relationship with Jesus through time, the use of time, talents, and finances that God has entrusted to them. Today I've been asked to speak on the stewardship of time. Time. We all have the same amount in our day. Nobody gets more or less in each day than the next person, and each of us choose to a great extent what we use that time doing. Granted, many of us have jobs or school that require us to work a certain number of hours each day. And we should probably get a certain amount of sleep, probably 6 or 8 hours on the average. But after that, we dictate what we spend those other 8 to 10 hours doing. And we fill those with our priorities. So let's talk about those priorities for a minute, because we all have them. Some of us have a plan for our life and have our priorities for accomplishing those plans written out in detail. Others have maybe just a general list in their heads, and still others haven't given it much thought at all. But we all have priorities. We may not even realize what our priorities are, but if we look at what we choose to spend our time doing, those are our priorities. Others can see our priorities as well by observing what we choose to spend our time doing, and sometimes by where we choose not to spend our time. I have spent time deciding what I want my priorities to be: my relationship with God and doing His work, my children, my family, and my work. It's a conscious choice that I make over and over to keep these priorities in check, and I spend most of my time on these priorities. And how do I make it work? How do I find the time to serve God when I have all these other time-consuming activities going on? I make time. I find the time to serve because it's important. This church, this congregation, these kids that we're about to hear sing, you are important to me and to God. You are my priority, and you are God's priority. So I look for things I feel I can contribute to or have an ability for, and I serve. When I lived in Williston, I was a coordinator for the annual Squirts hockey tournament for 3 years there. And the first time when I reluctantly agreed to do it, I got up at the first parent meeting and I said, look, I know we're all busy. I'm busy. I'm a full-time mom. I'm a full-time single mother. I work full-time. And I have 2 kids with a lot more activities than just hockey. And I'm busy too. But if you all volunteer to be involved in one aspect of this tournament and make sure that part is taken care of, then no one will have to spend hours upon hours to make this happen. And the same principle applies. If each of you finds one aspect of service to God, to the congregation, to the community, where you can use your time and ability, then the workload is a lot lighter for everyone. Using your time to do God's work is important. And I serve through music in church and Sunday school. I teach kids. I serve on the council and a couple of committees where I believe I can make a good contribution. And I stand up here and talk to you because those are things I have an ability to do. Now I know someone else will talk about talents more next Sunday, but let me just say this, because I know some of you are thinking, but I can't stand up in front of people. I can't teach kids, and so on and so forth. But every one of you has abilities. Every one of you has a talent. Use your time and those talents to serve. God needs all kinds of people with all kinds of abilities. So, my dear brothers, as in 1 Corinthians 15:58, so, my dear brothers and sisters, be strong and immovable. Always work enthusiastically for the Lord, for you know that nothing you do for the Lord is ever useless. Thank you.